Episode 1. In the early hours of the morning, police break into the Miller family home of Father Eddie, Mother Manda, their daughter Lisa, and 13-year-old son Jamie. Detective Luke Bascom and Sergeant Misha Frank arrest Jamie on suspicion of murder. Jamie shouts to his father that he didn't do anything. The terrified teenager is taken to the station and told that he needs to choose a guardian to be there for him. Jamie asks for his father to be the guardian. He is then placed in a pre-trial detention cell. Soon a family arrives at the station, and Eddie is informed that his son has chosen him as a caretaker to be present with Jamie during the investigation. The boy's mother, Manda, doesn't understand why her son didn't choose her. Next, doctors take tests on young Jamie and subject him to a humiliating examination, completely naked, despite his father's objections. Before the interrogation, the lawyer Paul Barlow, appointed to defend the boy, advises the teenager to answer questions about the events of the previous evening with the phrase, "No comment." Left alone with his son, Eddie directly asks if he committed a crime, but is flatly denied. Detective Bascom and Sergeant Frank begin their formal interrogation. They show screenshots of posts from Jamie's Instagram page, where he reposted explicit photos of models, and under one of the posts he left comments with aggressive innuendo. Then, the police move on to questions about Katie Leonard, Jamie's classmate, whose body was found in the parking lot the day before. Barlow's lawyer suggests a recess, but Eddie, convinced of his son's innocence, insists on continuing. Detective Bascom then shows the CCTV footage of Jamie stabbing Katie to death in the parking lot. The interrogation is interrupted and father and son are left alone. Eddie is horrified by what he sees. They both hold back tears. Jamie reaches out to his father for support, but he is distant. After a moment, however, he does embrace his son. Episode 2. 3 days after the murder, Detective Bascom and Sergeant Frank go to the school where Jamie and Katie attended to talk to their classmates, find out Jamie's possible motives, and locate the murder weapon. Bascom's son Adam also attends the same school. The police are faced with exhausted teachers, struggling to cope with students who are shocked by what has happened. Rumors of the murder and Jamie's involvement spread rapidly through the school, with Katie's friend Jade taking the news particularly hard. She refuses to talk to the police, and later attacks Jamie's friend Ryan, blaming him for Katie's death. During a visit to the school nurse's office, Bascom and Frank attempt to question Ryan. He is cooperative at first, but as soon as they talk about the murder weapon, he evades answers and soon leaves the office. Adam, Bascom's son, explains to his father how teenagers use emoji to communicate on social media and reveals that Katie has been using such encrypted messages to call Jamie an incel, effectively organizing cyberbullying against him. This new circumstance complicates the case for Detective Bascom. While attempting to re-interview, Ryan suddenly jumps out the window and Bascom rushes in pursuit. Upon capture, it is discovered that the knife used to kill Katie belonged to Ryan. He is arrested on charges of accessory after the fact. The school day ends, with Sergeant Frank heading off to file formal charges against Jamie and Bascom, taking Adam away, determined to spend more time with him. Meanwhile, Eddie arrives at the scene of Katie's murder and leaves flowers in her memory. He finds it very difficult to comprehend what has happened. Episode 3. It's been 7 months since the murder, and forensic psychologist Bryony Ariston meets with Jamie at the juvenile facility to prepare a preliminary report for court on his mental state. Jamie has recently gotten into a fight with another patient and is clearly annoyed that he is spending his pre-trial time in the mental hospital while Ryan is at home. Bryony immediately makes it clear that her job is to assess Jamie's understanding of the situation, not the crime itself. However, Jamie tries to dominate the conversation, showing himself to be the alpha male. The psychologist patiently brings the conversation back to more important issues: Jamie's family, his life, and his attitude towards women. In the course of the conversation, he confesses that he thinks he's ugly, and at school, many people tease Jamie and his friends. Through sensitive questions, Bryony gradually reveals the full chronology of events. Katie took a nude photo for the guy she was in love with, and he distributed it around the school without her consent. This hurt Katie deeply. Jamie wanted to take advantage of the situation and asked her out, thinking she would be emotionally vulnerable and more likely to say yes, but she rejected him and laughed, and then started leaving comments on Instagram calling him an incel. During the conversation, Jamie's mood kept changing from friendly to aggressive and vice versa. He then indirectly confessed to the murder. When the psychologist informed him that this was their last meeting, Jamie desperately asked her if she liked him as a person. She refused to answer, which infuriated him even more. The guard was forced to escort Jamie out of the interrogation room, and Bryony, left alone, cried quietly. Episode 4. 13 months have passed since the murder, and today is Eddie's birthday. He turns 50. Lisa reports that his van has been vandalized. They left "Maniac" written in paint on the van. None of the neighbors saw who did it. Eddie then tries to wash the lettering off, but it doesn't work. 2 teenagers on bicycles pass by and taunt him, calling him a maniac. This really pisses him off. He decides to take his family to a building materials store to buy chemicals to remove the lettering. On the way, he suggests that wife and daughter go to the movies to celebrate his birthday and cheer themselves up a bit. At the store, a young employee, recognizing Eddie, expresses his support and tells him that he is on his son's side. Eddie buys some paint, and when he goes outside, he sees the same teenagers again. Rage erupts in him and he grabs one of them, shouting insults and threats. He demands that they not make fun of him and his family. His wife and daughter watch in shock as he pours paint on the van and they drive away. As they drive home, Jamie calls his father, wishes him a happy birthday, and informs him that he is going to plead guilty. Unaware that his mother and sister can hear his words, there is a sepulchral silence in the car. When they reveal their presence, they try to have a normal conversation with him, but they can't hold back the tears. Jamie then says a quick goodbye. In the bedroom, Eddie and Manda discuss their son, how he has always behaved. And Manda says that Jamie is just like Eddie. His father used to beat Eddie a lot when he was a kid, and he promised he would be a better father. Not like his father. He tried to be a good dad, but then he started working a lot and didn't have enough time for his son. They try to reassure each other that they are good parents. Eddie doesn't understand how he let this happen, seeing what his father was like. He tells his wife that he believed his son until they showed him the tape, and he thinks she should have been the one to be there for Jamie. After all, she would have done better. Then Lisa comes in. Eddie apologizes to her for what happened. She informs him that she too is being teased as the sister of a maniac, but she says that they need to deal with it, and they can't move or the problem won't be solved. They decide not to go to the movies, but to watch the movie at home, ordering Lisa's favorite foods. When Lisa leaves, Eddie asks Manda how they were able to raise a daughter like that, to which Manda replies that the same way they raised their son. Next, Eddie walks into Jamie's empty room and cries loudly, snuggling into his blanket. He places one of Jamie's stuffed toys in the bed, kisses her forehead, and apologizes. Write in the comments, what do you think of the series? Put a like and subscribe to the channel.